In a jungle far, far away, there lived an orphaned lion cub. Left alone in this unforgiving forest, he chanced upon a passing flock of sheep and joined them. Now, growing up with the sheep around him, he ate what he saw them eat and he bleated loudly when he saw them speak. Every day, wolves and other predators would come and snatch away a few of the group members. The cub feared these days like no other. But what could be done? He was weak and this was his life. As years went by, he became larger and stronger, but in his mind, he was still a little sheep. One day, an old lion was passing by. He saw the group of sheep and immediately pounced to kill a few. As luck would have it, he came face to face with our sheep lion, and the old lion froze in fear. This might be his end, because the young lion in front of him looked strong and ferocious. But instead of attacking, this young lion shrieked frantically and ran away in those weird sheep steps. This was a shocking turn of event for the old wise lion. Curious as he was surprised, this old lion hid around for a day to see what this weird, strange creature was who looked like a lion but behaved like a sheep. And for a whole day, he watched in fascination as this young lion ate grass, walked meekly, and lay around with the sheep. The old lion was wizened by age and experience. He figured out what was happening. This poor young lion truly believed he was a sheep. Taking pity, the senior lion grabbed the young one by the scruff of his neck and pulled him to a nearby river and roared, "Look at your reflection and mine. Tell me, what do you see?" The young lion, with half-closed eyes, screamed, "I'm a poor little sheep and you are a great big lion. Please spare me." But then he saw the reflections and gasped, because there was no sheep. There were only two lions staring back at him from the reflection, and one was this wise old lion. But who was the other one? Because that lion looked even more ferocious, invincible, and powerful. What an impressive creature, he thought. Who could it be? And then, in an instant, realization dawned upon him. That young, powerful lion was no other than himself. "I am no sheep. I am that lion." The lion roared and walked away, never to be afraid again. And in this story lies the entire landscape of non-duality, of Advaita Vedanta, and of freedom while living. Let's see. Ignorance and conditioning. The cub's ignorance of who it truly was, that was the root cause behind all of his fear and anxiety and stress about tomorrow. It had conditioned itself as a small, weak creature who could only endure the predators till death came. There was not even a hint of any other option other than running and hiding. Could it be that we too are in a similar situation? That the reason why we are anxious is because we think happiness is out there and somebody can prevent us from having it or can snatch it away once we have it? Advaita Vedanta says that just like that cub was always a lion, we are always complete and free, irrespective of whether we are in a pride of lions or a flock of sheep. And if this is true, that we already are that what we seek, what more could we possibly need in order to be happy and fulfilled in right this moment? Yes, this is a radical view, but it seems radical because we have been conditioned to think and behave like a sheep. Try if, just like the cub, you can look at yourself and find out who you truly are. True nature. The ignorant lion was always a lion. It could have been free any day it chose if it only recognized itself. But that brings up a question. Who are we truly? Are we a chaotic bundle of thoughts that is being pulled in multiple directions in mysterious ways? Or are we this changeless, blissful consciousness that can act with full vigor in the world and yet remain unaffected? And what is this consciousness? And how can you and I and everyone else be the same thing? Well, for that, we have multiple in-depth podcasts on this channel, and you should go and look at them because it is well worth investing your time. But back to the story. The lion cub thought it was a sheep because it had been raised amongst them and knew no other reality. And this is pretty much the case with us. We know no other reality apart from identifying with this localized body-mind complex due to ignorance and societal conditioning. Just as the cub is inherently a lion, we too are inherently Brahman, the ultimate unchanging consciousness. And realizing our true identity is the core objective of Advaita Vedanta. The path of self-realization. When the lion cub sees its reflection, there is an immediate realization of its true nature and a profound movement from fear to confidence and freedom. The power of self-realization is immediate. Once the lion knows what it is, it will not go back to thinking it is a sheep. The realization of our true nature can happen in an instant if we recognize who we truly are. There is an immediate shift in consciousness. That said, for most of us, the ingrained habits are far too strong and far too attractive and far too fluent in inducing dopamine hits. So there is always a danger of slipping back, which is why in this path you require discipline and consistency and a continuous immersion in Vedantic texts. Practical path to self-realization. So how do we get to this self-realization? Because unfortunately for most of us, we don't have a wise old lion nearby to take us to the pond of self-reflection. So it is left to us. We must question our true identity and introspect with an open mind. And you can try a few different directions here, and self-inquiry is usually the common undertone in all of them. The famous Who Am I question explained in detail by Ramana Maharishi is a wonderful contemplation point. Sit with it. Really try to articulate this question both internally and externally. See what exactly is your opinion of the self and how does it hold against a precise introspection. When you sit in meditation and focus your attention to a particular object, let's say the breath, where do you locate this self which is paying attention? Does it change when thoughts come and go? And where exactly is this ground on which sensations and thoughts are appearing and disappearing? Self-inquiry via such introspections helps us in distinguishing the true self from the false identity. And of course, a regular practice of meditation and mindfulness can help in calming the mind, reducing ignorance, and moving us forward in this journey of self-realization. Along all of this, listening to a skilled Vedantic teacher who is experienced and really living what he teaches can be quite priceless in your journey. But the obvious next question is, where do you find such a teacher? You do need a wise old lion to show you your reflection. But again, the good thumb rule here is not to be anxious in searching for one, just having an open mind, and as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. Living from the true self. But be very cautious because there is a trap here. You could gain a theoretical understanding of all that we are saying here, and all that gives you is an inflated ego. That would be like a sheep thinking it is a lion, and you don't want that. So you have to learn to live from your true self, realize and then put into practice. Because simply knowing I am the consciousness and yet behaving in a very selfish, isolated manner in the world is of no benefit to either yourself or to those around you. Once the lion cub realizes it is a lion, it roars with confidence and authority. Similarly, once we realize our true nature, we also interact with much more compassion and empathy and kindness towards those around us. Imagine how simple and seamless this living would be if you could simply be authentic to yourself each day. And this shift from living as a limited being to embodying our true limitless nature leads to genuine happiness and fulfillment. The lion and sheep story is quite interesting in multiple ways because this stark contrast from being a sheep to being a lion, from someone who's at the bottom of the food chain, always afraid, to somebody who's always living with a firm authority and confidence. The difference is so much that you would usually think it is illogical, it is impractical, and it is probably impossible. And yet, here we have a tradition which is saying to you with utmost confidence that this is the path and this is the truth. The only thing you need to do is really go in with an open mind and see what you find. Good luck in your journey.